I mean, at least that's the story I've always heard.
No way. If that actually happened around here, I would have heard about it way before now.
Look, it's not exactly the kind of thing you want your town to be known for. The powers that be want to sweep it under the rug.
Wait a second. Isn't it just the plot to Halloween Resurrection?
Welcome to Rewind Video. I'm Bob.
And I'm Rob.
And we love movies. Good ones, bad ones, old ones, new ones, safe films, deadly ones, and everything in between. So I had my performance review last week.
Did it get stabby again?
Well, interesting you say that, because there is one comment from the top brass that just keeps like rolling around in my brain. And it's the phrase, "You're killing it." So they said that more than once, and I know that's supposed to be a compliment.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. What exactly is being killed, do you think?
The expectations.
Oh. I mean, they are extremely low around here. It did make me wonder if I actually start killing things. Is that the path to promotion? I mean, is this kind of like a wink, wink, if you choose to kill management, you become management type of message?
I don't think you should go that route.
Yeah. I'm probably overthinking.
That's not the path to success in this business, this company, this industry, right. Nothing.
It's likely that this feedback I was getting is just an acknowledgement that our movie recommendations are more on point than ever. After all, you and I are in charge of the staff recommendation shelf. Our job is to choose 6 movies deserving of our customers' attention. Each time we update the shelf, we adhere to a theme, and this week's theme is murder.
Yeah. I mean, we killed it again this week.
We did.
What's getting killed? Who knows?
Yeah, right. We'll find out. So I recognize that last week I maybe got way too deep in the weeds on the meaning of romance versus love, yada, yada, yada. I chose to not overthink it too much this time because
I feel like it would be hard to overthink the topic of murder. Seems pretty straightforward.
Well, there's killing and then there's murder. Are they different?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I know. I'm not even going to go there. Murder, pretty black and white.
Yeah.
And I would say that there's no confusion over whether or not murder is taking place in any of our movies tonight.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
This isn't the manslaughter topic.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. Although that would be an interesting theme.
Yeah, that'd be hard to come up with, I think.
Yeah. Murder, there are plenty of films on these shelves that were eligible.
We could put manslaughter on the list. The thing is, the list is so long of topics that are upcoming because we have so many ideas. Right, we're not anywhere near running out of ideas for topics.
No, who would accuse us of that?
Yeah, there's been a lot of rumors online.
right.
So, we can throw manslaughter on there, but there's a lot of stuff in between now and then. Maybe
that's a little too on the. Maybe we just need to think about like what about a theme on felonies or misdemeanors?
We're gonna get real specific in about 18 months.
Well, I am very excited to talk about all 6 of these movies. This was a fun week, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I'll be curious to hear your reaction. I had a lot of fun with your films. And as you usually do, you kick us off. So let's start talking about one of those films, your first one on the subject of murder.
Yeah, let's get going. I'm going to start us off this year, 2026. The movie is The Rip.
Oh, you're talking about a movie from 2026, not that here's where we are in the grand timeline.
We are in the year 2026,
yeah.
And this movie came out in 2026.
A true new release.
Yeah, that is like basically the definition.
Right.
This is filed under Hialeah Hullabaloo.
That would be accurate.
Back of the box. Trust phrase when a team of Miami cops discovers millions in cash inside a rundown stash house, calling everyone and everything into question. Tagline, count the money, count it again. Count on No One. Yeah. Kind of blah.
Count.
Yeah, it's a Netflix movie, so they don't really care about the back of the box or the tagline.
Or the poster.
Yeah, they're just going to put it in front of your face, and either you're going to watch it or you're going to not.
Yeah.
So this is a crime thriller starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, friends of the show.
Great to see them back together.
It's about a tactical narcotics team within the Miami-Dade police force, and they're tasked with tracking down and seizing large sums of cash from drug cartels. And when they do one of these, it's called a rip.
Yeah, that's not a term that I've heard in other movies that deal in this. I don't know these types of things.
I don't think I've heard it before. They say it a lot in this movie. They act like well, obviously everybody knows it's called a rip.
Right.
This is based off like a guy's story or something. So I assume it's like he probably used that term a lot in the magazine article or whatever they based this on.
Yeah.
This is written and directed by Joe Carnahan, who was on the shelf before for The Gray.
Another friend of the shelf.
He mostly specializes in like mid-budget crime movies.
Yeah.
The promotion for this movie got as much, if not more, attention than the movie itself when it came out. I don't know if you noticed this online, but Ben and Matt were like on podcasts and giving interviews and stuff, and some of those clips kind of went viral, and they were talking about how AI affecting the movie business, and also kind of what it's like making a movie for Netflix. And like, it's not like it wasn't, and nothing was a surprise. It's kind of stuff we've talked about before. Like, Netflix wants an action scene in the first 5 minutes.
Yes,
which we get here. And they want you to like reiterate the plot every 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and
out loud, so that the second screen that you're looking at, you still retain what's happening on the first screen.
Yeah. And like the way Ben and Matt were explaining it, which is kind of how I've always heard it, where it's like it's not really a demand. They don't come and say like, "Hey, you have to put this in this scene at the front of the movie, and you have to do this." But they're like, like if you want to be successful on our platform, like this is kind of what you need to do, And of course, like success is defined how they exactly define it. So like there's an extremely narrow window of like what they want you to do.
That's so interesting, and I'm not trying to digress from this movie in particular, but for Netflix to say that this is how you become successful on our platform, it's like, wait a minute, your platform is just movies.
Yeah,
and like it's not that like a Netflix movie should be different than how another movie should be made.
Yes.
It's just the place that you go to watch it. So like, why would that even matter?
I can't agree more with you, but but also like I see the argument like, hey, like every movie ever made was like shot for the market it was going into, right? But I think the difference with something like Netflix is, in the past a movie could be a success at the box office, and then like, and if it wasn't, or even if it was, it could become like a big success on home video or cable TV or whatever. Like now it's like Netflix's definition of success is like, can we get people to watch past the first 3.5 minutes in the first 5 days of its release? And then if it's not, the movie just disappears and you never hear about it again. They're just like, yeah, it's on Netflix, but like that's it. Like it's really like it's not going to show you the option of watching it anymore because like it's not relevant to them. Yeah,
it's just relegated to the depths of the infinite scroll, and who knows if you'll find it.
Yeah. So like when you were making a movie a thriller in 1998, you were making it like, we got to like, this is how you hook our audience. And even something that Matt Damon was saying during these interviews is like, in the old days you saved your big action scene for the last 5 minutes of the movie or 10 minutes of the movie. Now it's kind of opposite. And so you were like doing it you're still making it for that that audience or the venue or whatever. But like you had other chances of becoming successful. Now it's just like you have one swing at the ball, and like if you don't hit it, then like you strike out.
Yeah, and to play devil's advocate, I could also see a world where it's like, when you're going to the theater, you're committing to a movie. You've decided, I'm going to buy this ticket. I'm going to be there at this time. I'm going to sit through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when action sequences or, something big occurs, it doesn't really matter because you're there. However, on Netflix, I have to believe a lot of people start something not knowing what it is, and if it doesn't hook them in the first 5 minutes, they're like, well, I'll just try something different.
Yeah, I mean, but also like there's also like those autoplay features that most people don't turn off, and they're like, if it's the big Ben Affleck movie and you turn on Netflix, it probably just starts playing for most people, and so.
Yeah.
So in a way, like Netflix is creating that problem themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas like if it's on TNT and you're flipping through channels, it could be at any point in the movie, right? Part of Netflix's problem is it always starts at the beginning. But how does this movie start though? Like it starts with a murder. What a great way to capture your audience. Have a murder scene. The captain of this TNT task force gets murdered by masked assassins in the opening minutes. Yeah. And then Matt Damon is her second in command, and he suspects it's an inside job. And his last communication with her kind of gives him the clues he needs to find out who did this. So this is basically your typical January Gerard Butler movie.
Yes.
But without Gerard Butler. This came out in January, but it came out on Netflix and with Ben and Matt instead. Yeah. It's a little bit of Den of Thieves. It's a little bit of Heat.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it's more a derivative of Heat ripoffs than Heat.
Yeah.
But, this seems like a fairly small production. It's a few locations, one of which is a completely empty neighborhood. Right. A small cast. The plot twist is not hard to figure out if you're trying to figure it out. Yeah. But I'm mostly here for the crime. I'm here for the cast.
Right.
Ben and Matt are on the same side. Maybe not. Maybe they're not. So there's this metatextual aspect of their relationship, but also Kyle Chandler, Stephen Yeun. Tiana Taylor's in this movie and completely wasted. She does nothing but sit around and count money.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. Scott Adkins is in it for just a quick minute.
Yeah.
But if movies are going to be direct to streaming, I'm not upset that if we get a couple of these per year.
Yeah, no, neither am I. This is one of those movies with such, when Ben Affleck or Matt Damon, much less both of them together, show up on screen, it's hard to not just see the actor rather than the character.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a phenomenon here. But I'm also becoming, I don't know. I feel like when I see Kyle Chandler show up in a movie, my assumption now is he's a bad guy.
He's the bad guy.
And I'm not going to say whether or not that happens here, but I hope that he can broaden his range a little bit and just get, I don't know, some more unexpected roles under his belt.
So The Rip is rated 3.1 overall on Letterboxd. 120 people have it in their 4 favorites, and 33% agree with my 3-star rating, including Seth's Reviews, who wrote 3 stars, the movie. Which, I kind of agree with.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that's it's a solid 3-star action thriller.
Yes.
And time will tell if it becomes a 4-star movie. So I'm putting The Rip on the rec shelf this week for the topic of murder.
I have this at 3 stars too. I think it'll probably stay there for me. I think Ben Affleck is terrific in this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I almost feel like we're getting a little bit more of Ben Affleck, the person, and all of the characters that he plays. And it, in my opinion, just makes his roles better.
I mean, he's not blind to the fact that, like you were saying, you can't help but when you see him in a movie, it's part of it is this is Ben Affleck.
Right.
But he's completely aware of that.
Yeah.
And you've seen that in the last 5 or so years of him going this movie's about me, basically.
Right. My one criticism of this, and I don't know, I won't call it a spoiler because there's still a lot here to surprise people, I think. But, there is, even in the previews, you get the sense that, okay, these guys that are in this house counting this money are about to be swarmed by a whole fuck ton of people that want to kill them.
Yeah.
And they do get attacked, but it's a little underwhelming. It's I wanted a massive shootout, and did not get that. But
That's true.
that said, that's I misplaced expectations. There's still a lot of fun to be had.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked this. All right, my first movie is from 2017, and it is called Revenge, plucked from the title tells you everything you need to know section of the story.
That's what happens.
Yes. This is before we get into the back of the box. I'll just say this appeared on my radar after seeing The Substance because I loved The Substance and knew that director had some other films that she had helmed, and this happens to be her first her directorial debut.
Okay.
So I was eager to check it out. I'm glad I did. But here's the back of the box. Jen joins her wealthy boyfriend on a desert getaway that turns violent when his hunting buddies arrive unexpectedly. After a brutal betrayal leaves her for dead, she survives against impossible odds and sets out on a relentless, blood-soaked quest for revenge. Tagline, why do women always have to put up a fight? Which I think is a pretty good tagline.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Like I said, this is Coralie Fagit's directorial debut. I apologize now if I'm butchering that very French last name. It might be Faget or Fagot, who knows? But
I mean, somebody knows.
She might know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is kind of a blistering, like neon-drenched survival thriller, so to speak.
I would say it's like it's actually very similar to The Substance in that it's like very oversaturated.
Yes.
Like high contrast. Like
all the
sliders are pushed to the right.
No, that's totally accurate. And we've mentioned that this is a revenge story, but it has to be said up front that this is a rape revenge story. And that's usually like a genre that I steer fucking clear of. Like, it's full of movies like I Spit on Your Grave. And I hate those films because I feel that in the case of a lot of them, and I would include Irreversible, which we've talked about.
We've also had Ms. 45 on the shelf.
Right.
We've had Death Wish and Death Wish 3.
Yeah. I think that a lot of, and I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of rape revenge movies almost seem like they're fetishizing rape and looking to put it on screen for people to watch, people who for some reason kind of get off on that and want to see a woman going through a very traumatic event. And so I'm never seeking this out because I just don't like it. This movie does something very different, which we'll get into. But yeah, the actress Matilda Lutz stars as Jen, and she kind of transforms from this perceived like bimbo distraction into something rather unstoppable. But yeah, I would say this is not like a grindhouse sleaze movie. To go back a little bit to what I was just talking about, this is like calculated fury once it gets.
It's pretty bloody. It's pretty violent.
Yeah, almost like fictionally bloody. It just like there are scenes where you're like, there can't be that much blood in a person's body.
Yeah, but it's more like true, but it's more realistic than something like Kill Bill.
Yeah,
for instance, like it's not as cartoony. It is over the top.
Yeah,
but it is more on the realistic side.
Yeah, I agree. In some ways, yeah. So, why does it fit the theme? Murder isn't incidental here. It's anything but. It's very much the point. What begins as an attempted murder of this main character kind of turns into, like this. I don't know. It's a consequence of something awful that happens to her, and it shifts the gaze away from, she's just this hot young thing who's there to hook up with her boyfriend into, she's kind of a killing machine. Like I said, in most rape revenge films, the camera really can linger on suffering. Here it lingers on what ends up being male fear and the brutality isn't sexualized; it's like weaponized.
Yeah.
Like I said, Coralie Fargeet's directorial debut premiered at TIFF's Midnight Madness, and the director has spoken pretty openly about wanting to subvert the male gaze that dominates this genre, and she would from here later go on to direct The Substance, carrying over kind of some of that fascination with bodily extremity and female agency. But why did I choose this? I like that this is brutal, this is suspenseful, and surprisingly inventive for this genre. I think it's very surprisingly stylish for a directorial debut. It's no surprise that this woman went on to direct The Substance and to do it as
seems very French.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'll be honest. Whenever we choose a theme, one of my first orders of business is to see if the French have anything to offer for our topic, and usually they don't, but sometimes they're like, "Oh yeah, we got you covered." And
sometimes they do.
This is one of those cases. I think that this doesn't feel exploitative. It feels angry, and I just got a big kick out of the whole ride. And there's some stuff that happens. There's almost. Our listeners won't know exactly what I'm referring to, but the cave sequence, as that was unfolding, I thought to myself, she actually dies here, and everything else that happens is kind of like
her Jacob's Ladder scenario.
Yeah. I don't think that's actually what took place, but yeah, there's some suspension of disbelief called for in terms of how she recovers from her awful injuries.
The main injury.
Yeah,
she falls off the cliff. It's like you're done. And like the way she gets off the tree, like that's never gonna happen.
No,
like it's literally impossible. Like they didn't even really try, and I didn't really care about that.
I didn't care either. Yeah.
Everything's a little bit over the top here.
Yeah.
I think like the reason I didn't. This is a 3-star movie for me.
Okay.
And it's the same thing with The Substance. Like I can't make it. I don't think it's ever going to be a 4-star movie. It's just something like a little too indulgent about it. It's a little bit too enamored with itself.
Mm-hmm.
Something about it. I'm just like, yeah, I get it. You know. Which is the same feeling I had with The Substance.
I hear you. So I know just based on the theme of this alone, the subgenre that it fits in, that it's not going to be for everyone. And I think that your criticism is accurate. It's probably very much in love with the story that it's telling. But I've got this at 4 stars. It's it averages a 3.5 on Letterboxd. For me, it's got potential to move into 5, but right now 29% agree with my rating, and 780 have this on their list of 4 favorites. I plucked a review from the user Aaliyah, who said, "The tree scene really do be a portrait of a lady on fire." Which, as someone who has that in their top 4 and has recommended it here, I got a kick out of that review. So
it's part of the problem with that scene. It's like, the flame goes up. You know?
Right.
And then how do you? It just doesn't happen. But I did enjoy it.
It's going on a shelf. Revenge, my first pick for the topic of murder.
Okay, I'm going to take us back to 1992. The movie is Universal Soldier. This is filed under Chip Chopped Dolph. Back of the box. An American soldier who had been killed during the Vietnam War is revived 25 years later by the military as a semi-android Unisouls, a high-tech soldier of the future. After the failure of the initiative to erase all of the soldier's memories, he begins to experience flashbacks that are forcing him to recall his past. Tagline, almost human, almost perfect, almost under control. Which I think is like
That's such a 1992
perfectly
tagline.
cheesy for
Yeah,
this, I think.
yeah.
So this is Roland Emmerich's sci-fi action thriller about two American soldiers in Vietnam who murder each other and on the field of battle after one of them goes insane. And then they become co-workers 2 decades later.
Yes.
Dolph Lundgren is the officer who has a psychological breakdown and kills a village full of innocent Vietnamese civilians. And when Jean-Claude Van Damme tries to put a stop to it, they get into a firefight and they kill each other.
Yes.
Which is, not something the military wants to deal with. And so they develop a cover story, put them into bags of ice, ship them off to some secret military program, and turn them into cyborgs. And then 25 years later, we pick up the story at present day, and they're finally deploying the Universal Soldiers.
Right.
So obviously murder is what sets this whole story off.
Yep.
Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren murder each other, which is the reason the military puts them into this Universal Soldier program in the first place. Dolph Lundgren had been committing a lot of murders up to that point, which actually caused Jean-Claude's reaction in the first place. And, the messy nature of the Vietnam War in general, I think, kind of caused a blurring of the line between military action and murder.
Yeah.
Which is where all this trauma came from, or at least a lot of it came from.
Right.
Nobody knew why we were there or really who we were supposed to be fighting. And so to the soldiers, it all became indiscriminate killing and murder. And surprisingly, this is a 1992 dumbass action movie. It kind of takes that trauma head on,
it does.
right away.
Yes.
Dolph Lundgren is having his meltdown. And he's saying all those, he's yeah, they wouldn't listen. You want to pretend like it didn't happen, it happened.
Yeah.
It doesn't go away. And it's wow, this movie is just jumping right in.
Yep.
In a way we don't know. It's in a way we associate it with elevated horror, even here they straight up say this is trauma from Vietnam.
Right.
So this is a dumb Jean-Claude Van Damme action movie, and I can't make the case that it's great, but I still kind of love it.
Yeah, there's some nostalgia appreciation packed into this for me because I just watched it a ton of times when I was young, right around the era of T2, and it was I just kind of loop it into that, and
right.
I don't know, I really enjoy this, but
it's a cool sci-fi concept. It's got some cool action scenes.
Yeah.
If you love Jean-Claude Van Damme's ass, this is the movie for you.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of it.
So much naked ass in this.
Do you think you get more naked man ass in this or Revenge?
Oh wow, I don't know. Maybe I hadn't thought of it. Yeah, the thing about I've seen this movie so many times. I know it so well. I think it's just the fact that it's Jean-Claude Van Damme's ass too, which he's way too proud of.
Yeah, he loves it. Yeah.
And there's a 15-second tracking shot of his ass in this.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous. It's not the reason I keep returning to the movie, but it's there.
Yeah.
If that's what you like.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of a distillation of so many of the dumb 80s action movies that we think of, like Rambo's, Commandos, and that kind of stuff. One-liners every time they kill somebody.
Oh, yeah.
These big monosyllabic military tough guys, shooting guns and throwing grenades.
Yes.
So Universal Soldier is rated 3.0 overall on Letterboxd.
Wow.
49 people have it in their 4 favorites. 12% agree with my 4-star rating.
Wait, only 12 people have this in their 4 favorites?
49. 12% agree with my 4-star rating.
Okay. But 49 seems low.
It seems low. I don't know. I feel like this is probably not a movie that a lot of people younger than us go back to. I don't know.
You're probably right.
I'm not really sure, but this is kind of one of those, my 4-star rating, I think this was a 3-star movie for me until I kicked it up to 4, because this is a perfect example of that thing. It's well, it is a 3-star movie, right?
Right.
It's absolutely 100% a 3-star movie, but in the 35 years since it came out, I've watched it like at least 20 times.
Right.
Like it has to be a 4-star movie. Otherwise, why do I keep going back?
We don't rewatch every 3-star movie as much as you have both of us have this film. And so for that reason, it deserves to be 4 stars.
Absolutely. So that's kind of my philosophy with that. I found a user on Letterboxd that agrees with me named Sexual Jumanji. Which actually kind of touches on what we were just saying.
I think he's a customer at the store.
I think. Well, Oh, you're thinking of Sexual Monopoly.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
So Sexual Jumanji said, "When you watch a movie like this, you can fully understand why your dad or uncle decided they would only watch movies like this for the rest of their lives." So I'm putting Universal Soldier on the staff shelf this week for the topic of murder.
I mean, yeah, this is a classic.
It's a classic. It's a cheese dick 90s action thriller.
I mean, Van Damme, storied career, and a lot of action movies. Some of them sci-fi, most of them not. I'm of the opinion that this is peak Van Damme and peak Lundgren. Wow. I mean, Lundgren was great in Rocky IV. He's great in a bunch of things, but I like this villain a lot. I think he's scarier than he was in Rocky IV, and there's just more to the character. So I love both of them in this movie.
You know, I don't know. I'm not ready to say it's definitely my favorite Jean-Claude. But it is weird how, like, I actually don't like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, really, like, he bothers me in everything I see him. But there's at least 4 or 5 Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, I love this movie. Like, this is, I think, the 3rd Jean-Claude Van Damme movie I've brought to the shelf.
Yeah.
Even though, like,
I haven't brought any.
Him personally in the movie, like, it just always bothers me in some way. I'm like, there's something about him, but I still keep liking his movies. So, I don't know. It's one of those things.
When I think about the big action stars from, the late 80s and early 90s with, Stallone and Schwarzenegger and Seagal and Van Damme, for some reason, Van Damme just always seems to me like he's the one that takes the movies that all the other ones have said no to.
Yeah, I think he was, actually. I really think that he probably was. And, like, he's the least believable of the action stars, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he knows, like, the moves and whatnot, karate or whatever it is. But, like, you can tell he's small.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a little guy.
He's a little guy.
Well, nevertheless, he's great in this. So I'm glad you brought it to the shelf. And I'm a perfect fit for the theme.
Yeah. A lot of murder.
All right. Well, I'm keeping with some of the themes of Universal Soldier, and of course...
Is one of those themes murder?
Yes, but also some other stuff. And yeah, I'm going to a relatively new release, not as new as The Rip, for my second pick. This is from 2025. I'm choosing Companion, which is from the Anybody Got a Charging Cable section of the store. Here's the back of the box. During a weekend getaway at a secluded lakeside estate.
Again?
A group of friends find themselves entangled in a web of secrets, deception, and advanced technology. As tensions rise and loyalties are tested, they uncover unsettling truths about themselves and the world around them. It's a weird back of the box. Yeah. Tagline here, find someone made just for you, which made is doing a lot of work here. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good.
I like where they're going with it.
So I was perplexed by the way this movie was marketed when it came out, because from the poster to the trailer, like they did not try to hide at all that this is a story about a man who has a robot girlfriend. And go ahead.
I agree that it was not hard at all to figure any of that out. But as soon as I saw the title, I knew kind of exactly what it was. So I think it's almost like it's hard to hide that.
It is.
As soon as I heard the word companion, I'm like, it's about a couple. I'm like, oh, it's a robot. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even need to see the poster.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think this movie is smart deliberate and not exactly quick with fully revealing that as the story unfolds. You know, it's like close to the end of the first act that we're like, oh, yeah she's a robot.
Like, I don't think it's supposed to be a surprise. I mean, it'd be cool to see it, like, with not even knowing any of that.
Yeah.
But I think even in that situation, if you know the movie's called Companion, within the first 2 minutes, you're like, oh, she's a robot.
Oh, definitely.
You know, it'd be impossible to hide that.
Right. So this is written and directed by Drew Hancock. It's his directorial debut, another directorial debut. And yeah, there's like a blend of science fiction, a little bit of horror, some dark comedy, social satire. It's a big genre mashup that's equal parts fun and a little unsettling. We get Sophie Thatcher here as Iris, the android designed for companionship. And Jack Quaid is her boyfriend. And the film quickly kind of dismantles any romantic illusion that its premise might suggest. So how does it fit the theme? Murder is not just kind of an act here. It's the outcome of some denied agency and some toxic control. We see robots murdering people here, which,
You're a big fan of.
I am, yeah. Yeah, actually, this has some stuff in common even with Ex Machina, which we've talked about on the shelf before.
Very much so.
And yeah, we're entering into that world where AI is a part of every conversation, it seems, and people are not afraid to talk about like the robot uprising, which may not be as far off as it once felt.
Well, I think this kind of like a lot of these movies that touch on that theme hit the fact that like, well, it doesn't have to be the robots that do anything, right? It's just like it's what people are doing with the technology that causes all the problems.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that even where we are today in the world of AI, the general agreed upon sentiment is, well, yeah, we're going to push them as far as we can and get AI to do as much as possible, but it should never be killing people.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, like, because like, yeah, you can tell the robots like, or that whatever your AI is like, don't kill people, right?
Right.
But guess what? Somebody's gonna take that shit and do their own stuff with it, and it's always gonna end up somebody's gonna be like, I'm gonna use this to kill people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people are already using AI for pretty awful things, and
to themselves. Wait till they figure out you can use it against other people.
For sure. So why did I choose this? I like that it's a pretty wild reimagining of the romantic weekend getaway idea, and very quickly becomes its own murder story within that little subgenre. But there's something genuinely topical about this, and we've already touched on it, but just, the fact that the world is increasingly mediated by AI, and we're seeing it in dating apps, and like every product that you buy has like an AI element to it.
This is at least the third robot girlfriend movie you brought to the shelf.
It's definitely the third. Well, I mean, if you consider Ex Machina a robot girlfriend movie.
And Her.
Yeah, and her was definitely in that category.
So it's 3. Am I missing one?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Just pointing it out.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, we're in season 4, so I mean, like,
I thought I'd point that out.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like a big deal or anything.
right. Sophie Thatcher plays Iris in this, and I'm not too familiar with her other roles, but she's great at playing a robot. That seems to be like maybe something she should consider for the future.
There might be a lot of those roles coming up in the future.
There might
I'm not sure.
Yeah. And yeah, I would say this isn't just like fun. This has some slasher vibes to it at a certain point, but it's also definitely a metaphor wrapped in some gore and asking a question of what happens when love or the idea of love turns predatory instead of reciprocal. So I really enjoyed this. I thought that the comedic turns that it took were very effective. I laughed more than once. I thought Jack Quaid, who it seems like Hollywood has been just thrusting on us, was better here than I'm usually expecting him to be in some of the stuff that I see him in.
Yeah, he's fun.
Critics and audiences both enjoyed this. I think this is a movie that's deserving of a rewatch. The second time around, you catch some stuff that wasn't as obvious in the first viewing. This averages a 3.4 on Letterboxd. I have this at 4 stars, along with 25% of users, and 3,700 people have this in their 4 favorites. Where did you come out on it?
3 stars for now. I'm definitely going to go back to it at some point.
Was this your first viewing?
It was my first viewing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I dig it. I think the kind of the murder subplot gets a little bit, a little bit convoluted for a second, but
yeah,
I think it's a fun movie. It's like a fun version of Ex Machina.
Yes,
like it doesn't take itself quite as seriously as that.
Yeah. I saw some very funny reviews for this, including one that mentioned that it's kind of like T2, but for the gals and the gays.
Yeah, yeah. I thought the way they depicted the technology seemed very real, like what it would feel like. The way you set up the app and change the features and stuff. I was like, yeah, this is kind of exactly what your robot girlfriend would be like if there was one today. Yeah, no, for sure. I did pick a 4-star review from Sim, who said, "Wait, Iris is a fucking anagram for Siri." Which, astute observation. Yes. I do love that the pet name he has for his girlfriend is Beep Boop. Which is a little on the nose.
Hilarious, yeah. All right, so yeah, Companion, my second pick for murder.
Okay, I'm taking us to 1984. The movie is Cloak and Dagger.
When you picked this, I was like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar, but I don't think I've seen it. And then when I pulled it up, I was like, oh, I've definitely seen it.
Oh, cool.
I remember this from when I was young.
Cool. Yeah. This is filed under Gamergate. Back of the box, many paragraphs long.
Oh, wow.
Davy Osborne is an average 11-year-old boy with an overactive imagination. He spends his days playing video games and pretending to be a spy with his imaginary father figure, Jack Flack, a substitute for his real father, who is struggling with the recent death of Davy's mother. However, fantasy becomes reality for Davy after he witnesses the murder of an FBI agent who, in his dying breath, gives Davy a mysterious video game cartridge called Cloak and Dagger, which in actuality contains top-secret government information. With the help of his younger friend Kim, the tech-savvy Morris, and even a little help from his fictional secret agent mentor, Davy must stay one step ahead of pursuers as he tries to survive a real-life game of espionage in the streets of San Antonio, Texas. Man, I feel like I get all the long backs of the box.
Yeah.
I feel like every episode I've got one that's like 250 words long.
All of mine are like 2 sentences this week. Yours are like several paragraphs.
Tagline, it's not just a game anymore. Yeah,
that's fine. I mean, that could be the War Games tagline.
Yeah. I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
You just
Tron.
It's not just a game anymore. So Henry Thomas plays Davy, who's the kid who gets the super secret video game, and then has to evade spies and government agents and whoever else to make sure it doesn't end up in the wrong hands. Dabney Coleman is his dad and also the imaginary friend, who is sort of like a combo special forces James Bond guy.
Is Dabney Coleman still alive?
I don't think he is. I don't know that for sure.
No, he died in 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was actually originally released as a double feature along with The Last Starfighter, which was on the shelf previously.
For flying cars.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, wow, that was forever ago.
That was. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if they do double features anymore. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. But I can see these two playing back to back and it feeling just right.
That feels perfect.
Yeah.
So how does this fit the theme? Well, it fits the theme. Even though this is a children's movie, it features many violent murders. Many. It starts out in the first 5 minutes. A guy gets stabbed in the chest, and then immediately followed by a woman who gets shot in the chest. Now, we do learn that it's actually kind of like a fantasy world. It's part of a game that Henry Thomas is playing. So, but like the murders are on screen. You know, like these people die on screen, and then you're like, it was part of a game.
Yeah.
But then the actual story gets kicked off when Henry Thomas is handed this video game by this dying man who then like gets finished off in front of him. So now our 11-year-old protagonist has just witnessed a murder.
Yes.
And then like his friend who runs the video store gets murdered. Now, we don't see that on screen. Henry Thomas doesn't see it in person. But he gets thrown into the trunk of a car with his corpse and has to like roll around with this corpse for a while. Which
sure does.
Is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then spoiler alert, the end of the movie, Henry Thomas murders the bad guy. He shoots him with the gun. And then also the imaginary friend gets murdered in front of him.
Dude, PG movies in the 80s that were aimed at kids, they're doing some wacky shit.
I mean, this movie kind of features nonstop murder.
Yeah.
It's a children's movie.
Quite a bit of it.
Nonstop murder. Which I think is one of the reasons I like this.
Yeah.
I had not seen it as a kid.
Oh, really?
Well, maybe I did, but I don't remember it.
Oh, yeah.
But this is something we've talked about. Yeah, like kids' movies used to have fucked up shit in it. You know? This, I think, is probably a little bit over the edge, which I think maybe is why it kind of like wasn't popular and kind of disappeared.
Right.
Because I bet you a lot of parents were like, I don't know if we're going to get that videotape for you, you know?
Well, I mean, like, even the front of the box, which we don't always talk about, has the fucking kid in, like, his head is between the crosshairs of, like, a sniper rifle. And so, like, it suggests something terrifying.
And like a big part of the plot is this kid having a water gun that looks just like a real gun, which was what they used to look like, I guess, back then.
Pre-Super Soaker days.
Yeah. I think now it's not against the law to make water guns that look like that.
Yeah.
For good reason. Yes. You know, like to watch this movie now, you're like, holy shit, like what? That kid has a gun. Then, it's just a water gun. But like part of the plot is that like, no, later on he has a real gun and shoots somebody.
Right.
Which is like, I mean, most of the movies this director had made were like adult, like fucked up crime thrillers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy that this guy even made a children's movie, but I like the danger is real, so the adventure is more fun. I think kids versus adults is a winning concept, you know, like
always.
And I think the 80s movies that we're talking about, like in some sense they understood that adults are assholes and dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, like The Goonies, another movie that kids have to deal with a corpse.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And like the bad guys have guns and stuff. And like, who knows what they're going to do with those kids when they get them into a van. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like 80s movies were like, yeah, let's scare the shit out of these kids. You know?
I mean, there's some like catnip for children just baked into this when you factor in like video games and spy stuff and violence and adults are the bad guy. Like, there's just a ton of things that are just super appealing to the demographic that are probably marketing this.
100%. I love the kids' performances too.
Yeah, they're good.
Henry Thomas is good. His friend, that girl, is fucking outstanding. I thought she was great.
Yeah. She's awesome.
I 100% recognized her from something, and I couldn't figure it out. I looked up her like filmography. She was in some episodes of Mr. Belvedere, which I think I might have seen a few times.
Maybe.
She was in Harry and the Hendersons. But then I think what it was, she was in this show called Out of This World, where she was the best friend of the main character, who was like a half alien girl who had like some sort of powers. Okay. And when I read that, I'm like, I think that might have been the show. Like, I think I might have watched that show.
Okay.
But she's great in this.
Yeah.
Dabney Coleman is good. Did you notice the Dabney Coleman ass shot though? Speaking of ass shot. Like, and the funniest part is it's like in the opening credits. And I don't know if you noticed this part. It's on the part of the credits that is the director of photography credit.
Did not notice that.
Which I was like, holy shit! Like this, the DP was like proud of this shot, right? Like, because like when you can, they usually put that over like a good shot.
Yeah.
And it's just a 10-second tracking shot of Dabney Coleman walking away, just right on his ass.
You know, you handed out a rewindy for like, let's move on from male nudity. And I know we don't really have much in the way of dongs this week. There's flashes of it in Revenge, but a lot of male ass.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of it was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Right.
This is like, because like, I should point out, Dabney Coleman's wearing pants. I don't know if I made that clear.
Yeah.
So like, it's not as weird. I think it'd be extremely weird if he was naked.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, like, ass.
Another thing I liked about this is something we see a lot of 80s movies do, which is shooting on location. You know, San Antonio is probably not the most exciting city in the world.
Yeah.
But like they're in San Antonio making this movie, which I thought was cool. You don't see that kind of stuff now. Everything's in Atlanta or Vancouver.
Yeah, exactly.
So Cloak and Dagger, it's at 3.3 overall on Letterboxd. 27 people have it in their 4 favorites. 19% agree with my 4-star rating, including Alex Bagella, who said in his review, Dabney Coleman just convincing a kid to kill a man. True. So I'm putting this on the shelf this week for the topic of murder.
This was fun to go back to. I mean, it had been decades since I'd seen it.
Wow.
But yeah. I probably would have never watched it again or thought about it again had you not recommended it. So glad it made it up. All right. My third and final pick for the theme of murder is another one-word titled movie. It's from 1997, plucked from the X Marks the Spot section of the store. And back of the box synopsis. A detective starts spiraling out of control when a wave of gruesome murders with seemingly similar bizarre circumstances is sweeping Tokyo. And by the way, this is for the movie Cure, which I did not mention. Cure. Tagline here, madness, terror, murder.
Bam.
There you go. So this is written and directed by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, and it's a psychological horror, not serial killer film, because there are different people committing the crimes here, but they're all connected.
Yes.
And it sort of plays like a slow procedural where the setup pretty deceptively simple. A series of killers are caught near the scene of the crime. They confess, but they can't explain why they did it. Mm-hmm. And that missing why is kind of the film's black hole, so to speak. But yeah, we have the movie is starring a guy named Koji Yakusho, and he's Detective Kenichi Takabe. Who's like exhausted by this case, increasingly frayed at home, and then opposite him there's a drifter character played by Masato Hagiwara, who kind of seems to like flow in and out of these crime scenes like bad weather, so to speak. But how does it fit the theme? So most murder movies, most murder stories treat motive as the engine. You kind of have like jealousy, money, revenge, passion.
Well, because that's how you catch them, right?
That's how you catch them, yeah. And, like pick your poison, but there's always something driving the murder. And I was fascinated by this because it kind of stares that assumption in the face and says, what if motive isn't required? Mm-hmm. And, perhaps it's more of like a switch that's flipped in people rather than a decision that's made, and maybe just ordinary people need a nudge in order to commit a crime like this.
Maybe,
yeah. So this was originally a movie titled The Evangelist, but it was renamed during production, after the Tokyo subway sarin attacks, which I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
They wanted to avoid like a religious cult association with this film, and it's now become kind of regarded as a precursor to some of those late 90s, early 2000s Japanese horror films. Make no mistake, this is much different than those, like movies like The Grudge and stuff. But I can see how, maybe this led to those. But yeah, why did I choose this? First of all, this was a recommendation from one of our regular customers, but I really like it because it messes with the foundation of murder stories in a way that's, I think, pretty rare. You know, like it's not giving you a satisfying box to put violence in, and it doesn't let you say, that's why they committed this crime. Instead, it's something much more, I think, upsetting, which is this idea that the line between this person would never do something like that and the person who did might be thinner than I think we'd like to believe. So, motive just being this thing that is suddenly stripped from the murder construct is a fascinating idea. And I wouldn't blame people for feeling like this was a little slower than they liked and a little hard to piece together. But I also don't think that this movie is trying to get you to solve what's going on or necessarily even make sense of it. It's more just about, in my opinion, the idea that what if people have this in them and it just needs to be drawn out and anyone could be a murderer, which I think is a pretty fascinating take on dread, kind of like the no fireworks, just the inevitability sense. What did you think of it?
I liked it. I thought it was a little bit all over the map tone wise. Mm-hmm. Like the opening theme song seemed like a sitcom. Was I crazy? And like the opening theme song was like a sitcom song, and I was like, "What?"
So I had that reaction as well.
Okay.
And then I restarted the movie. So I started watching it and maybe got 15 minutes in, had that reaction, and then I started it again from a different source, and that theme song was gone.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the theme song.
Right.
So, I mean, not that it was like a problem, but I did have the because I didn't know much about this going in. I did have a moment going like, is this a comedy? And there were definitely some funny parts.
Yeah, for sure.
Intentional or not, I'm not sure. But it wasn't like funny the whole time. But the main character, or not the main character, the drifter guy, the bad guy, I guess. I clocked him right away though. Cause not as like the bad guy, but as more like I instantly went into fuck this guy mode because he's like hypnotizing people, right?
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of reading and stuff into cult leaders. You know how like that thing when from the outside or with politicians and stuff, you're like, I can't believe people are falling for this, right?
Yeah.
You know, but like you're not on the inside and you don't get it. But you know, they're generally losers. Right? The cult leaders are generally losers who have like one skill, which is finding people weaker than them and preying on those people.
Yes.
And I noticed this guy right away, like the thing where he's like, I don't remember. And then he can't remember anything. Right. And he keeps asking questions like, oh, this is what they do is they get you off balance. And when they're the ones to steady you, they can kind of point you in whatever direction they want. Right. That's always what they do. They get you off balance in some way, shape or form. And that's what this guy's trick was. And I was instantly like, that guy's a fucking scammer. And like, I instantly knew it. And that's what hypnotism kind of is. You know, it is kind of selective. It doesn't work on everybody. And I guess the idea of this is like, he figured out the way to like do it in a way that does work on everybody, right?
I mean, when you consider that this was originally called Evangelist, It gives credence to your take.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. And then when he gets shot at the end, when the detective just like whips that gun out, I found that hysterical somehow. Right. But I was also like, man, somebody should have just fucking shot him an hour ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I did enjoy this.
Good. Yeah. I had the same reaction. I was very much like, fucking finally.
Yeah. Yeah, this was like an active watch for me. Like, I had a lot of opinions about everybody. That was, I had a lot of opinions about this guy.
Okay.
So it was fun to watch in that sense.
Good. Well, this averages a 4.3 on Letterboxd. I have this at 4 stars along with 30% of users, but 15,000 people have this in their 4 favorites, which was a much higher number than I expected for a movie of this age, also a foreign film. Took me by surprise. I picked a 5-star review from Hung Cat, who is touching on something that we didn't really talk about, which is that this is a beautifully shot movie, and this director definitely has a style of his own. But the review says, Kurosawa does for sweaters, cigarette lighters, water, papers, wind, people, and room corners what Jaws did for the sea. Which... I clocked the sweaters, too. Yeah, right. A lot of good sweaters.
I'm turning into a sweater guy, so I'm noticing all the good sweaters.
Yeah. I have a YouTube video I'm going to send you about sweaters in movies. Rob, murder was the case that we gave ourselves. And in response, we chose 6 films with a whole lot of killing in them. The 6 murder-themed picks we have on offer tonight are The Rip, Revenge, Universal Soldier, Companion, Cloak and Dagger, and Cure.
If you don't have time to stop into the store, you can visit us 24 hours a day at rewindvideopod.com. You can also find us on Letterboxd and Blue Sky, or send an email to rewindvideopod@gmail.com. And if you're a fan of the show, please rate, review, subscribe, and recommend it to all of your friends who love movies.
Yes. Or your friends who like murder.
You shouldn't have friends who like murder.
You shouldn't, but I mean, maybe you do. All right, so looking ahead, we've got one of those themes coming up that we're revisiting from an earlier season.
Not because we're out of ideas.
Not because we're out of ideas, but
they're so good we have to go back.
Yeah, oftentimes there's more than just 6 movies that are worth recommending. Now, you were in charge of choosing this theme that we're revisiting, and our regular listeners might already know what you wanted to go back to, but for anyone who doesn't know how you feel about runtimes, we are indeed returning to our under 85 minutes theme.
I can promise you right now, I will never choose over 170 minutes for like a repeat episode. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, that was really tough.
It was a really tough week. Maybe the longest week of my life.
Yeah, a lot of time in front of the TV. So yes, as usual, we will have 6 movies to recommend. But of course, if you're looking for something in the meantime, don't hesitate to hit us up for a movie to watch.
Be kind, recommend.